What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation, the best baseball community on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Brandon Woodruff, who was overpowering with his fastballs in the upper 90s and had nasty sliders. He had 10 strikeouts in 8 innings, giving up only 1 run. He outdueled Jamison Tyone, who had 4 Ks, thanks to these breaking balls. Hayden Wesneski had 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up only 1 run. His ERA this season, 2.3. His sliders were absolutely wicked. Check out this backdoor slider and this White Castle special. I also love how excited he got that I tweeted him out during his game. I mean, he was freaking dominant. What else am I going to do? Seriously, the man has filthy stuff. He was up against Jose Urena, who had 4 Ks in 6 innings with this fastball and slider. Julio Urias went 6 innings and had 8 strikeouts, giving up only 1 run, thanks to his curveball and changeup. His curveball is a real sweeper. This one broke 19 inches horizontally. He has a .203 batting average against his curveball and a 30% whiff rate against his changeup, which is also nasty. His ERA this year is now 2.27. Brady Singer had these pretty painted two-seamers, both front door and back door. He had 5 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up no runs. His ERA on the year is now 3.07. He was up against Dick Mountain, Rich Hill, who had 4 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings, thanks to these slow curveballs. And here's an overlay of his 69-mile-an-hour curveball, nice, and his 89-mile-an-hour fastball. And you can see how much he varies his arm slots. So you're dealing with that arm slot differential as well as a 20-mile-an-hour velo difference on those pitches. Rich Hill is a master at keeping hitters off balance. Jose Quintana had this dirty 78-mile-an-hour curveball. Davis Martin had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 earned run, thanks to his fastball, sliders, and this curveball sword. Eduardo Rodriguez had 7 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up only 2 runs, and had this sinker. Dakota Hudson had filthy front door and back door two-seamers, and got a sword on this slider. He gave up no earned runs in 8 innings with 5 strikeouts. Connor Pilkington had this fastball and changeup on his way to 6 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 hit. Jake Odorizzi had these cutters and fastballs, got 5 Ks in 4 2/3 innings. Aaron Nola had 8 Ks in 7 innings, thanks to his knuckle curves and his filthy cutter. Shane Bieber had 6 Ks in 8 innings, giving up only 1 run. His ERA right now is 2.83. He had these filthy knuckle curves and swords, and also these wicked sliders. And here's an overlay of his 87-mile-an-hour cutter and an 83-mile-an-hour knuckle curve. And you can see the difference in movement of those pitches out of the same mechanics. This makes hitting really tough. Chris Bassitt had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up no runs, and had this dehelmeting 89-mile-an-hour cutter and also these pretty curveballs. He's been really good this year, and his ERA is now 3.32. Zach Gallen had 4 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, thanks to his curveball and fastball. Gallen was outdueled by Joe Musgrove, who was really good. Musgrove had 8 Ks in 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 4 hits. He had an array of wicked curveballs and sliders, and also added in a changeup. His ERA this season is now 3.16. If you haven't been paying attention to George Kirby, you really should. This rookie is outstanding, and he's only going to be getting better. He had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up only 2 runs. His ERA this year is 2.98. And look at these curveballs and fastballs. Amazing command from this young pitcher. Kirby was great, but he was outdueled by Shohei Ohtani, who was the filthiest pitcher of the night. Ohtani had these ungodly sliders, including this White Castle special. He had this painted backdoor slider. He had this incredible 101-mile-an-hour sinker. Look at the movement on that. I'm amazed a hitter could get a bat on that. And then he followed it up with this filthy slider to get the K. Ohtani also had his splitter working. Here's an amazing overlay of his 90-mile-an-hour splitter with his 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and look at those things trade places. That splitter drops to the ground like there's a magnet pulling it, and that's at 90 miles an hour. Ohtani had 8 Ks in 7 innings, giving up only 3 hits and no runs. His ERA this year is now 2.43, and with this start, he is now a qualified starter again, having more than 1 inning pitched for each of his team's games. And he leads the major leagues in strikeouts per 9 innings, with 11.9. He's also 4th in the major leagues in WAR for pitchers, higher than Justin Verlander. And he has 196 strikeouts this year. Opponents are only hitting 104 against his splitter with a 49% whiff rate, and only hitting 172 against his slider with a 39% whiff rate. Not only that, but Shohei Ohtani is also king of the Pitchers Who Rake Club. Even he said he's having a better year this year than last year. My most overpowering pitcher from yesterday, that was Hunter Greene. Hunter Greene had 11 Ks in 6 scoreless innings. In the first inning, he had 12 fastballs over 101 miles an hour. In the first 3 innings, he had 30 pitches over 101 miles an hour, and the most ever before that was 18 by Jordan Hicks. He had a 43% whiff rate on his fastball for the game, and had 47 fastballs over 100 miles an hour in this game, the most ever. For the entire game, his fastball averaged 101 miles an hour, and it peaked at 102.6. And here's an overlay of his fastball and slider so you can see what hitters have to deal with. Talk about having a bright future ahead of you. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Adbert Alzolay K'd the side. Joe Kelly had this 99-mile-an-hour fastball and 89-mile-an-hour knuckle curve. Giovanni Gallegos had these filthy sliders. Devin Williams had these incredible airbenders. Emmanuel Clase had this 100-mile-an-hour cutter and 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And I want to show you the difference in movement between those pitches, so I overlaid them. And you can see how far apart they end up. At that velo, that's impossible. Matt Brash had these wicked sliders, and his ERA this year is now a smoking 4.20. Ryan Helsley had this gas. Liam Hendricks had this 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Kenley Jansen had this cutter, and the Ripper had this stabber, and the Braves won by sudden death. But my filthiest pitch by a reliever yesterday was this insane slider by Brooks Raley. This thing broke 19 inches, and it's just totally unfair. Speaking of unfair, Ben Joyce threw yesterday for the Trash Pandas and had this 101-mile-an-hour fastball. Those poor minor leaguers. And now, my Pitching Ninja moment of zen. All I can say is, doink. What's up, Ninja Nation? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to go with Framber Valdez for 7 Ks or more, Yu Darvish for 7 Ks or more, and then Quadzilla Spencer Strider for 8 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?